The base engine is a 3-cylinder naturally aspirated IR12DE 1.2, 79, 80 horsepower, with distributed injection, intake phase control and timing chain drive. It also works in a hybrid version. Suffer from vibrations, but reliable. Weak points include the ignition unit relay, fuel pump and mass airflow sensor. It is necessary to periodically clean the throttle and adjust the gaps. There are no hydraulic compensators. Accepts AI-92, serves 250,000 kilometers. The 1.2 turbo engine with the index HR12DDR, 98 horsepower, has the same cylinder diameter and piston stroke. But it is more complex, direct injection, 2-phase regulators, fuel not lower than AI-95. The same set of problems is complemented by the rapid formation of soot and the associated high oil consumption. The resource is a little lower. The hybrid is sequential. The internal combustion engine charges the battery, which powers the electric motor, borrowed from the Leaf model. There is no connection between the gas pedal and the internal combustion engine. It lives independently under electronic control. The peak torque of the electric motor is almost twice as high as that of a gasoline turbo engine, which is the best option in terms of dynamics. Another plus, you don't have to constantly look for a free outlet. Everything is charged on the go. On hybrids, the role of the gearbox is played by a single-speed planetary gearbox, Jatco RE1F61C, formerly called a variator. There is nothing special about it that breaks, except that the wear of the hardware will affect the long mileage. Maintenance boils down to replacing the working fluid. You can take into account that the supercharged 1.2 loads the variator with torque almost to capacity, while the naturally aspirated one, on the contrary, creates gentle conditions. Theoretically, with it, the variator should remain in good working order longer. Beyond the Urals, a worn-out CVT is usually replaced with a contract one. It's cheaper, 2 to 3 times, and faster than repairs. All-wheel drive in the hybrid version is an additional electric motor on the rear axle. Malacolny, 5L. Width. And 15 Nm, it is controlled by electronics, and it is quite difficult to sense its presence. A version with a manual transmission exists, but it doesn't reach us. The situation is worse with the CVT of non-hybrid versions. This is the mass-produced Jatco JF015E, known to us from many models. It has been thoroughly studied, but, unfortunately, it is not particularly tenacious. Problems often brew at 60 to 80,000 kilometers. So buying on the secondary market is a lottery in nature. The true condition of the CVT is unknown. They praise the spacious interior and rich equipment. The suspension is rather weak. The engine warms up damn slowly in winter. It's cold in the cabin for a long time. 5-door hatchback, length 4,100 mm, trunk 295 L, clearance 150 mm. The 1.2 engine, HR12DE, 80 horsepower, is quite simple in modern times and therefore reliable. Distributed injection, AI-92 is acceptable. The timing chain lasts over 200,000 kilometers. There are no hydraulic compensators. Combined with the familiar Jatco JF015E variator. Sometimes it starts to get mopey after 60,000 kilometers, but we have mastered all types of repairs. Over half of the offers are a hybrid version of Note E-Power. A sequential scheme is used. The same 1.2 petrol engine charges the traction battery. The wheels are turned by an electric motor, borrowed from the Leaf electric car. The dynamics are better, the consumption is slightly lower, and besides, there is no sophisticated gearbox, a simple and cheap gearbox, which in case of breakdown is easier to change than to cure. The suspension is simple and patient. On Japanese roads under 100,000 there is nothing to worry about. On ours, wheel bearings, front arms and CV joints give out faster. Also, when running 60 to 80,000 kilometers, the rack or steering cardan may rattle. The engine warms up slowly, and the heater is not efficient enough in cold weather. The cabin remains cold for a long time. Solution: radiators are wrapped in a blanket. There are few minor faults, and they are not systemic. When buying a car with mileage only in Japan, they immediately change the antifreeze. They fill it with summer antifreeze.